Welcome back, guys. It's Connor again. I hope you're all well. I'd just like to start the video by saying thank you for the response that I got on my first video last week. I am really pleased with it. A little update on that tip that I gave. The second and fourth from that Ascot race in January, they ran again at the weekend, once again at Ascot, placing third and fourth. So that gives the form of that race a particularly strong look. I'd also like to say if any of you have any questions or specific fancies for the festival yourselves, just to pop them in the comments below and I'll make sure to give you a response on those. So today I'm going to be giving out my second selection and a bit of analysis. So again, my tip's going to be for the Wednesday. This time it's going to be in the Champion Chase. You might think I'm mad, but I'm going to be taking on the favourite, Cheltenham Ante-post. I'm just going to give you my thinking behind opposing him now. I did think that he was exceptional at the Dublin Racing Festival. That was the most I've ever been impressed with the horse. I do just have a few doubts going into Cheltenham about him. So the first one and the obvious one is his lack of course form, no course experience. That is a big negative for me. Also the fact that he has to travel over. You don't know how the horse is going to handle that. It's not a given. The second slight doubt for me was at Leopardstown last Christmas. Shakan has the ability to put the race to bed early with an injection of pace between like 3 out and 2 out in the last. He usually has the race sewn up by the last. The one time a horse did manage to stick with him after the last was A Plutard, and he ended up beating Shakan by 3.5 lengths. I'm not really questioning the horse's attitude, and it was probably fitness that day which got him beat, but I'm just showing the fact that this horse isn't invincible and he is actually beatable. Following on from that run behind A Plutard, Shakan then went to the Dublin Racing Festival and he met his stablemate Min there. Min and Ornua set an extremely strong gallop from the front. Shakan travelled well throughout. I think he took it up from the second last and leading after the last. I would have just liked to have seen him extend away and been a little more impressive at the line. It actually looked like after Min had set the early fractions and set that strong gallop that he was able to regain ground towards the line against Shakan. I also thought a similar thing happened this Christmas with Shakan. The race when a few fences were taken out, he was still travelling like on the bridle very smoothly. Paul Townend had hardly touched him. The others in behind struggling to keep up. I think I'd put the kettle on and notebook. Once Paul Townend did get to work on him, he didn't really extend again. So that does just bring a slight stamina doubt into my mind about the horse. I don't think that the stiff finish of the hill at Cheltenham is going to be up his street. There's also the fact that he was so impressive at the Dublin Racing Festival this year. Is he going to be able to back that up with it? I think it's only a month between festivals. That's quite a short time to get the horse back to his peak condition. So looking at the race this year, there's definitely going to be a strong pace on in the Champion Chase. You got the likes of Notebook, Put the Kettle On, Politolog. I think David Bass is obviously going to want to force it on First Flow. They're all going to go hammer and tongs from the front, ensure it's a savage gallop. I think Paul Townend, there is going to be a lot of pressure on his ride, obviously in all the championship races there are, but he does have to get it right on Shakan, I feel. He's obviously going to track the leaders. Obviously Townend's going to drop Shakan in and not contest the early pace throughout. It's just at which point does he let Shakan go. I think if he unleashes him too early, he's not going to get home. Obviously at this point the leaders will be tiring. I think there's one horse in the field that if he's in contention approaching the second last and the last, there's only going to be one winner up the hill. So the horse I am going to be backing is going to have to be Altior. What can you say about this horse? One of my favourite horses. I'm not actually biased going into this race. I'll give you my reasons now why I think he is such a good bet. Firstly, we've seen his turn of foot up the Cheltenham Hill many a times. Firstly in the Supreme, won the probably the strongest Supreme in years. Min in second, dual champion hurdle winner Bouvier in third, and a whole list of names in behind that. Then went on to win the Arkle, then the Champion Chase. So in that 2018 running of the Champion Chase, just to illustrate how deadly Altior's turn of foot is, Min was actually ahead of Altior as they jumped the last, and Altior was then able to put 7 lengths between himself and Min as they crossed the line. So in the 2019 running of the race, a lot of people knocked Altior for his performance this day. He did win. I'm not so much in that camp. I feel like the ride he got off Nico wasn't the greatest. He overcame a lot of obstacles to win that day. His class and his guts got him the win. Firstly, he chased an overly strong gallop that St Calvados was setting. This proven by there was like a 7 to 8 length gap between themselves and the rest of the field. He also made a very bad mistake at the water jump. Turning for home, coming to the second last and the last. Who was it? So Royale and Politolog, both seemingly travelling much better than Altior, ranging up both sides of him. He also didn't jump the last two particularly well. He slowed down into him. As they got over the last, once again, his turn of foot, he powered away clear in between horses and put the race to bed. Nicky Henderson then decided to up Altior in trip with the eye at a potential tilt to the Gold Cup that year. He faced off against top UK rated chaser at the time, Surname, Ascot specialist. Nothing to be able to lay a glove on the horse around Ascot over 2 mile 5. Won a handicap off 150 by 20 plus lengths, following up with a win in the previous year's Ascot chase, beating horses like Waiting Patiently, Politolog and Fox and Norton. They were all in behind, I think 17 plus lengths to the nearest, which was Waiting Patiently. So first time out of the season against a horse who was deadly around Ascot. First time up in trip. For him to finish 2.5 lengths behind Surname, who was getting his optimum conditions, I actually think that was a really good performance from Altior. Obviously, I think that race was really grueling. The ground wasn't ideal. Both horses finished knackered, and I think it did bottom both horses for the season. The Ascot race definitely had an effect on Altior. Henderson gave him like a 3-month break. Gave him a prep run at Newbury in the last year's Game Spirit. With an eye to go into the champion chase. Obviously that didn't happen, but let's just talk about that Newbury run. This was pretty important. He's a 10-year-old at this point. He beat So Royale, who's just this weekend won this year's running in that race, and Dynamite Dollars, who was third that day, ran second in the champion chase. But the important thing is that Altior's turn of foot is definitely still there as a 10-year-old. So first time out this season, we saw Altior contest the Desert Orchid Chase at Kempton. Got beat this day by Newbay Negra of the Skeltons. Altior was giving him weight. I also feel like Kempton would suit Newbay Negra a lot more than it would Altior these days, although Altior has won there in the past. So with Altior obviously not getting any younger, it might take him a little bit more to get him fit nowadays. Obviously being a 10-year-old, he might not be 100% first time out, might need a run or two or more work at home like Nicky tends to do. But I do have to say I was encouraged by this Kempton run, and I think a return to Cheltenham, his old stomping ground, will see a much better performance from the horse. I also don't mind the fact that Altior won't be having a prep run this year, obviously an older horse. Takes him a little while to recover from his races. Nicky Henderson, master trainer, he's sure to get the prep for this horse right. It's such a big deal to him. Putting trust in him to get the training right at home and to get Altior there in peak condition. I also like the fact that Henderson used this exact route, Kempton at Christmas, into a couple months break, fresh horse, as he did with Sprinter. When he regained his champion chase crown in 2016. If you're new to the sport or you haven't watched this race in a couple of years, I'll put a link in the description. Go and give it a watch. 2016 running the champion chase. Unbelievable performance. The atmosphere was immense when Sprinter loomed up on the outside of Undersow. Highly recommend. I'd just like to say that I have nothing against Cheltenham Ante-post. I think he's an exceptional horse. Just myself personally, I'd rather bet the 8 to 1 each way than take the 5 to 6 for Cheltenham to win the champion chase. You do have to take a bit of a leap of faith for Nicky Henderson to get him there as the old Altior. He might not be 100%. He might not be the horse that he was a couple of years ago, but I have no reason to doubt that he is. Yes, he's an older horse, but we've seen last year Foheen in the Marsh, finished 12-year-old, he finished a length behind Mellon and Sam Crow. Obviously people that say it's a championship race, 10-year-olds can't win championship races, blah blah blah. This isn't a normal horse we're talking about. This is a horse who is unbeaten around Cheltenham. With Cheltenham obviously playing to the horse's strengths, essentially you're paying 8 to 1 to find out whether Altior possesses the turn of foot he's shown us up the hill so many times. Because I think if he's in contention coming around the home turn and they jump the last, there is only one winner. It's turbo kick in and he will put the race to bed. That's going to be it from me today, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't seen my last video and you've enjoyed this one, make sure to go and check that out. Obviously, with the Cheltenham Festival fast approaching, I will be getting up more videos. I think it kicks off in about 3 weeks' time. So if you do like listening to me ramble on and are interested in my betting tips and strategies, if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. So stay safe, take care, and I'll catch you next time.